Hello everyone, it's 2024. It's a new year for, guess what? New rumors and old rumors that seemingly won't go away. I don't mind a fascinating rumor about a Nikon Z6 III because I know logically it's on its way. But all this global shutter talk and these new cameras.
Global shutters are the next innovations. Global shutters will consume the market.
The simple fact of the matter is global shutter photography cameras are fool's gold. In plain terms, they suck for 99.9% of us, and that's a fact. Watch this photo news brief to find out if a global shutter is coming to your favorite Nikon or Canon mirrorless camera. 2024 has started out great for camera manufacturers. With all the new camera releases like the Nikon ZF and the Sony A9iii in the last half of 2023, what more could consumers want? Sony thinks it's a global shutter. Hi, my name is Vaughn, and I will go over the rumors and try to make sense of all this global shutter talk. After all, the Nikon Z6 III is pretty much a foregone conclusion. The Nikon Z6 II is being heavily discounted to make way for the Nikon Z6 III. So if you're still in this boat, it's time to swim to shore before it sinks. I've always loved Titanic. Now I want to talk about how Sony dropped the mic by creating a photography camera with a global shutter. Global shutters aren't a new concept. Sony and Canon have been using global shutters in video cameras for years. These cameras can be expensive. Now that we have high-dollar flagship cameras that not just the professionals use, but the masses, who thought just years ago that beginners and enthusiasts would buy a mirrorless camera like the Sony A9iii at a staggering price of $6,498 and a Nikon Z9 at $5,496? It's a no-brainer for Sony to create a global shutter photography camera for $6,000. It's part of Sony's plan to release a camera and see what sticks in the marketplace. I want one too, but my Nikon Z9 will have to do until the Nikon Z9H. Just kidding. Leave those comments if you want a global shutter camera. Now, there were rumors from Canon Rumors that Canon would release the Canon EOS R1 and the EOS R5 Mark II with a global shutter. But according to a quote, reliable sources, ergo, there will be no global shutter in these cameras. But they changed their mind and said it was suggested that readout speeds will be good enough to make the advantages of a global shutter less prominent while maintaining the expected image quality in the next generation prosumer and flagship camera bodies. The same source claims that Canon's next image sensor will have a bigger advantage in performance than we're used to from a new generation of Canon consumer sensors. Now that makes perfect sense, Canon. No gimmicks, just plain old camera tech. Love it. Now let's give a nod to Nikon. Remember when Nikon went all electronic shutter on the market? That was cool back then. It just made sense that they outsourced their sensors from Sony. Yes, Sony Semiconductor. Don't be mad at me, it's a fact, not a rumor for once. There is talk that Nikon is thinking about the Nikon Z9H. Maybe, just maybe, Nikon wants to outsource Sony's global shutter full-frame image sensor and add their own twist. Does Nikon want to venture further into the video market? Maybe Nikon wants to compete with the Sony, Canon, and Red digital cinema cameras. That's a thought. Market shares for photography cameras will shrink again. Having a new cinema line of products would further enhance the Nikon brand. That market is booming with hybrid shooters. Hey, maybe I started a new thread. Finally, for all those that think they need a photography camera with a global shutter, take this warning, buyer beware. The Sony A9iii is for professionals that need blackout-free shooting at 120 frames per second continuous shooting, and that also need a shutter speed of 1/80,000th of a second. Throw in the fact that the A9iii can sync compatible flashes such as the Sony f46RM, the f60RM2, at these shutter speeds, including 1/80,000th of a second. But for prosumers that don't want to deal with a camera that has a base ISO of 250, which means you'll have to shoot at faster shutter speeds and use ND filters for video and photography. Plus, the dynamic range and image quality is still being questioned in videos from YouTube creators. I would wait until Sony releases the final product to see if any stats change. So far, 2024 is already starting out as a great year for mirrorless cameras. Thanks for watching, and watch my other photo news brief videos.